Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Hi, everyone. Today is Wednesday, August the 6th, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. It's one of those mornings where I go, I know it's somebody's birthday today, but I can't remember who. So I'm going to have to check my calendars. Anyways, let's start with taking a look at the ES. We've got 2 days of price action here. Notice this is where the volume area sits. We've got the value area low. If we come into a value area low from above, we have a tendency to bounce. If we come into the value area high, we have a tendency to reject. Now notice how messy that is. It breaks down here and it breaks up here. Doesn't mean that it's not generally true, and that's really, to coin Captain Barbosa from the Pirates of the Caribbean, trading rules are mostly guidelines. The only thing we have to really manage is our risk, and so that risk can be mitigated by allowing more time to move forward. So yesterday we had two things show up on the chart: a potential entry breakout and a potential entry breakdown. We had a potential entry recovery, and then we had a secondary entry rejection. Remember, support can become resistance, and resistance can become support. So in the effort of being completely transparent with this new VIP program, I am sharing my stats. I am filling out the daily profiles. I can't expect you to follow me as a guide who's not willing to do the work that you're willing to do. And so every day I'm going to put it out. If it looks like garbage, looks like garbage. If it's good, it's good. But I am being consistent, and so I would urge each of you to do that. Please, please. All right, that's me. I'm done. So what are we staring down? First 30 minutes of the day are way down here. The high, 6,328, the low, 6,313. Volume profile shows us inside of yesterday's price action, so it is noisy. My suspicion is that as we reject this value area high, we are able to potentially short into the point of control, or at the very least, the high of the opening range, which we also noted was 63.43. Okay, now if we squinch it into 3 days of motion to see what the madness is doing, we can see this volume rotation is really wide, making it a sideways pattern with a low volume node right here near the resistance. My thought is this line in the sand, which actually is also Wednesday's IV, 63.45. Guess what today is? Today's Wednesday. The traders are going to want to keep us underneath this line so they don't end up upside down for the options that they've sold. Could be, we don't really have any specific releases, but we could stay choppy in this big patch. All right, for the time being, I'm going to look at just a couple of days. And if you want to see what relative volume looks like, we had big volume on the opening. That's what these orange, well, I guess that's goldenrod. These colors tell us that this is more than average. Okay, so the opening 30 minutes more than average, this downward flow more than average, but still holds inside this pocket over and over and over again. And then we break out, and if we're chasing it and we're looking at a 30-minute chart, it never comes back to give us the retest. It just simply rides right into Thursday's IV. We're going to look at this number, 63.60, going to be an area of resistance today. So far, all the volume is relatively average for early morning formations. So let's move this back over. We're going to do the 2 days. What are we staring down? consolidation on a very wide formation. I'd like to ultimately get the opportunity to buy the low at 63.19 or sell the failure at 63.50 potentially, but this rise to 63.60 gives me some pause. So if I take the short at 63.50-ish, I'm going to get out and just take a hair clip at 63.52 and then try to reload at 63.58. I do not use micros anymore. I feel like net it teaches a few pretty bad habits, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Listen, if you're trying to manage risk, stick with your MES until you build confidence. Rotationally, everything's going to be fine. I'm just telling you what I am doing, right? I'm using the minis. And so the analysis is going to sit there. Value area high and the volume point of control are very near each other. And remember, the tendency, if we bounce off of value area high, it should take us into the low volume nodes. Okay? That's what we're thinking is going to happen. Let's go to the NQ. Gosh, I said a bunch of those numbers completely wrong. Okay, here we are, 2-day formation. Take a look, folks. Look at how we bounce off value area low. Coming from above, that's going to be the first thing. So if you're short and you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to break down, it's going to be awesome, and you see that value area low event, trim your size. Take some profit. We're in a big sideways patch, right? Don't look for the home run into, the parking lot. Look for the dribble up to first base, right? You'll be able to swing big once you build confidence, but the goal is to build the size of the account up so that you're able to build a bigger cushion for yourself. When you have a bigger cushion, then you can trade bigger. That's as simple as it gets, all right? A lot of us try to swing big when we don't have anything. That's like taking your last $5 and going to the racetrack and going, all right, this is all I have, I'm putting it in there. And you might think, no, it's not like that, but it actually is. So there we go. I have the expectation that we'll get back to value area low. There's a little bit of tech rotation. The big guns are still doing their thing, but a little bit of tech rotation, and that we're seeing that, right? Sitting here in these areas near the value area low, whereas the ES was near its value area high and trying to breach. Dips are still buys, right? Dips are still buys. People are thinking, hey, listen, they're going to lower rates come September, whatever. It doesn't matter to us right now. What we are looking at is rotation, and rotation is telling us this. We have a low here, and we have a high. We have a lower low, we have a lower high, but now we've got a higher low. And wouldn't you know it, high of the 30-minute candlestick formation, that's the retest that gives us a long, but 23,200 showing as resistance. The VWAP also showing as resistance, that's 23,220. And then value area high and major broken support at 23,250. I think we move sideways, potentially rotate down. That's just my thought. Dips or buys, but you can easily short here at the top of these ranges and head back down to the bottom. All right? You can manage your risk there. Just do it carefully. Okay? And you can see what's going on here, right? If we happen to lose if we lose the value area low, first thing we're going to try and do is recover it. If we can't recover it on the first bounce, it's going to send us down into these lower volume node areas, and 23,000 remains our support. Let's look at the YM. Okay, YM also looks a little cleaner. I don't do analysis on there as much, but it is what it is. Still showing us something really very interesting. Let's go 3 days. This one's sort of ahead of the game, right? This is a big pocket of 3-day motion. This includes part of that crazy day that we had, whatever day that was, can't remember, I think it was Monday, just rockets up and then gives a majority of it back yesterday. And now in the pre-market, what are you doing? Rolling up the hill again. Okay, so what's happened? Let's get to 2 days of motion. That's yesterday and today, right? Where are we? Inside value area high. Now, look at how the try to bounce. Remember, value area high gives us the bounce zone. Try to bounce, try to bounce, try to bounce. This is a short, right? With a stop at 44,000. Now, you might go, good grief, woman, that's 700 points away. Yes, you can mechanize that just a little bit, right? Maybe wait for it to stabilize off of this high volume node, watch for another fade back, and then try and get it at, 44,300, right? Actually, it's not that much risk, but you know what I'm saying, right? You can take it short. Where should it go? Bottom of the value area. Is it going to go down in a straight line? Nothing ever does in the market. We're looking for rotational motion that gives us a lower high and a continuation of a lower low. Anne-Marie, you said at the beginning of the video, it's a buy the dip day. Yes, but that dip could be deeper, right? You want to look for real rotational events, and intraday, it is still buy the dip. However, you got to look at that first 30-minute formation to say, all right, well, where can I buy that dip? How about the point of control or value area low where you know price action has a tendency to bounce? Try that. That number is 44,215. Okay, so if we stare down the first 30 minutes, we've got a high, 44,282. We have a low, 44,192. If we lose the VWAP, probably not going to be good for longs until we recover the VWAP, and then we've got this nasty patch here full of piano keys and pickup sticks, right? In this kind of space, you want to trade a range. Old resistance likely to become new support, so watch it right there, 44,277. Momentum is low, volume is ticking up for this time of day. Bounces, clearly selling zones in this flag pattern. We'll see where it comes into. Markets are messy. They're very messy. Easily make for tough days. All right, 2 days of rotation. Look at how they're building volume here, right? Came down to 113. You guys know I'm looking for 111 at the end of the day, right? Looking at this kind of rotation. Let's go back to 3 days of motion, right? Here's the beginning of the day. Notice the volume profile shifts. 3 days of motion. We want to figure out where the fat pieces are, right? Look at how they bounced off value area low. Now, dancing around the volume point of control. This area continues to be very important. Still looks like resistance to me, right? Still looks like resistance. However, momentum is increasing, and we have another volume node here. And since we're inside of the value area, we could easily head to the top of the channel. Easily. The top of this big channel. And that happens to be, wouldn't you know it, the low of the 30-minute candlestick from yesterday. So I think we see our ranges. Dips, ideally, we don't want to break down value area low, right? If this is the range that we're in, 114,200, that would be the buy zone into, 115,000. This is very messy. Lot of volume all along the path. Just respect your risk limits, right? If you go, okay, I'm taking this long, and you see it fading, just take a quick loss and go, let me reframe, let me recalibrate, and do it again. Micro Bitcoin is a great instrument to trade for that. It can run really hot, but if you take one, it's so easy. You can take two for sizing, but we'll talk about that later on, not quite now. And here, our opening range formation, right at the bottom of the value area. Feels like that's a good bounce zone. If it isn't, it could easily become a sell zone that takes us to the bottom of the channel and lower. Liquidity is going to be the name of the game, and by that I mean, what are the traders doing in terms of risk, right? If we're on a risk on versus risk off, look at this. They are just completely sideways in here. I like the long near 114,000 with the target up at 114,800. If you lose 113,750, this long is no longer engaged. All right, let's take a look at oil. Oil's been going a little crazy lately. Moving all over the place. Right? Here's 2 days of motion. You can see them building value area here, right? First pop out resistance, second pop out resistance, clear breakaway formation based on value areas over 2 days. Okay, let's go to 3 days. I think volume is one of the easiest things to teach because the subjectivity becomes very defined. Same sort of thing here. Look at the value area here, also confirming this bounce out, right? First time resistance, it pulls back a little bit. The VWAP holds it as support. Now we saw this in another chart. Can't remember which one. I think it was maybe the ES. We saw the VWAP holding as that front line support. It could easily end up giving us a support zone that we can use, but the value area here says, listen, they have created a very nice base here. So pullbacks ought to be buy zones just so long as they get right back out of the value area. If they get back into the value area to the point of control, 65.60, price action, if we get back out, it'll be just fine. If not, we're going to go to the bottom of the range. Which way will we go, Anne-Marie? I don't know. My crystal ball is a little dusty. But what I do know is, take a look. Look where resistance is. Our 30-minute high, our 30-minute opening range from yesterday. We break out above 66.30, 66.40. We've got to move up into 66.60 and potentially $67. Okay? So, what do we have? Well, we got the EIA report today. That might get a little bit messy. But they're going to try and buy the dip. And if they can't, we easily could see lower prices. Very easily. Opening range, well below. So here I was yesterday being a cheapskate. Remember I said, hey, I want to buy the 65.35, but I think it'll go lower. It did, but I was waiting for it down here, and it clipped at 65 and 6 cents or something like that. Super nice buy zone up into the resistance area, and it went without me. And that happens, right? A lot of times I'm doing 6 things at once, and I totally missed it. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Should have done it in an overnight trade and just left it. All right, there we go. Life is full of shoulda, woulda, couldas, huh? All right, let's see if they got gold fixed. I have to tell you, I was a little bit firm with, yes, I think, is this right? Let me see. No, still wrong. We're still $30 off the contract price, but the rotations are the same. Sideways pressure, look at how many days. Do you see how big this volume profile is? And it's ugly. It's so fat and ugly. Let's pull it back and see. Oh, gee whiz. Okay, so if we go through, let's try this rotation here. 1, 2, 3, 4 trading days. We see that value area high came in, tried to hold it, came in, tried to hold it, lost, tried to hold it. These are clear selling patterns. Where are we now? Volume point of control, VWAP. Buyers are going to try and come in there, right? Also 30-minute opening range. So look at your chart and see if you've got trading view or whatever. Look at your chart and say, or I mean, even if you've got top step. Let me see how many days I have. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, top step shows a low volume node here at 34.15 and the edge of the value area at 3,400. To me, That looks like a pretty good buy zone, right? 4 days of rotation coming all the way down to the bottom of the range. Remember, the price action's about $30 behind us in this contract. I don't know why they haven't fixed it, but it's very rare for TrendSpider. They must have a lot going on. All right, let's look at SPY. Now, you'll notice that for those of us who trade SPY, I sent you a very nice write-up today on what it is price action is looking like. I think it's rangy. The value area actually is a little bit wider now, right? It's now here, right? And here we are sitting in it. What could we do? Fill the gap. 627 for be the buy zone, right? 627. This is the opening range for the day for trading hours. But, whoopsie. It's not letting me get that one behind it. All right, so what I suspect is if we hold 627, we're in great shape for a long. See this low volume node? If it slips out of here, it's going to I think it's going to run to the bottom of the pocket, and that's 624. And if it runs to the bottom of the pocket and doesn't immediately bounce, I think we fill the gap and head into 621. That was the last buy zone that was sticky. All right? Hey, listen, good luck trading today. Watch your risk. The markets are literally a mosh pit of sideways formations. So watch those volume areas. We can see where big traders are participating and use those, and we'll be in good shape. All right, everybody, take care.